Here's my audience. Life is crazy. It can be unfair, unpredictable, and throw us curveballs that are seemingly made of fire. Hello, my name is Sophia, and welcome to my curveball-filled life. My life has been nothing short of crazy from birth to success. I've had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, but I pulled through. Now, let's take it back to 2001, shall we? It was this year in July that the world was blessed with my presence, and the rest is history. Now, my full name is Sophia Rayvon Garcia. I was born to Andrea and Carlos on July 7th, 2001, which makes me a Cancer on the zodiac chart. I'm the sister to Allison and the granddaughter to Sally. I have 6 siblings, 4 parents, an active imagination, lots of friends, and as a child, I guess I got decent grades. Now, at the age of 3, my parents split. That's right, I'm the product of divorce, but that's okay, because WFLawyers.com reported in 2019 that 50% of marriages ended in divorce. But I was fine with that, and then I got 2 awesome families instead of 1. After divorcing, my mom was single, and she raised me and my sister up until I was about 16. You see, shortly after I turned 13, she started dating this guy, and shortly after my 15th birthday, he became my stepdad. With this marriage, I gained 3 siblings, 2 aunts, 1 granny, and some pretty awesome cousins. Now, I don't remember my dad being single. He dated my stepmom for a couple years, pretty much right after their divorce. They got married in 2008 and have been married ever since. And in that marriage, I gained 4 uncles, 2 siblings, and a plethora of cousins that I can't even count. I like my family this way. It gave me support growing up, and even though my parents never really got along, it was just the way it was. And I was okay with that. I mean, look at these families. Who knew where I would have been without them? Now, please allow me to manually move the clock back to 2019. This was the year I graduated high school. It was also the year life threw me many of opportunities that I threw away because I thought I could handle it on my own. May in 2019, I graduated high school. I went to Casunas Oaks. I had a GPA of 2.8. I had some friends, and I did your normal after-school activities like soccer and wrestling. I was pretty much your average teenager. After high school, I took a trip to Europe. I went with my mom, my stepdad, and my grandmother. We stayed for 2.5 weeks and did your normal sightseeing, touristy kind of things. You would think in Europe is where I would find myself, but you would be wrong. Like I said, I lived my teenage years pretty commonly. I stayed out of trouble. I kept to myself. I was semi-healthy and pretty much happy. It is now that you may be saying, this is an average good life. What could have been rock bottom? Well, let me tell you what rock bottom looks like for your average teenager. But to fully understand, we have to go back to 2016. Back then, I fell head over heels for a boy whose life was much different than mine. He was mixed, he was adopted, and he had his struggles. We talked on and off for about 2 years, but we never committed to anything. But then in 2018, my life came to a halt when I realized that his had ended. But what happened after that? Well, I went into senior year with the worst mental state I'd ever been in. I felt like my teachers and my friends didn't understand, so I really felt alone. Birthdays, holidays, vacations, you can name it, but nothing really felt the same. I never recovered, and I lived my life wondering if the decisions I was making were making him proud. This was my lowest point. I felt so alone, and I thought I'd never bounce back. But I did. And you may be asking yourself, how? Because I was so young and this was so heavy. Well, allow me to introduce you to my amazing support system. I found hope in my family and friends, and I found peace as they pulled me from the water and reminded me to focus on what could be instead of what was. I poured myself into soccer, into wrestling, and in these I found families that helped me pull through everything I was going through. On top of that, a couple years later, I enrolled in college and got a job at the YMCA. It was a combo of these 2 that helped me discover my true self and find my passions while allowing me to explore them. They encouraged me to follow my dreams, even if it meant leaving their company. But let's recap. I was born in 2001, my parents got divorced and each remarried. I hit rock bottom right before my senior year of high school. I was 17 years old and probably not prepared for what life was going to throw at me. And to recover, I hung out with friends and family and got a job at the YMCA, and I went back to school after a 2-year gap period. So, you may be asking yourself, what happened next? Well, this was the part when I chased my dreams, because in 2022, my friend Tristan told me to chase my dreams no matter what I might have to leave behind. In May of that same year, I auditioned for AMDA during a solo trip to LA, and that's where I realized my true dreams. In 2017, IntrigueAgency.com said that old ways won't open new doors. So, after attending AMDA for 4 years, I had no trouble finding work, and I starred in a plethora of shows, including Hairspray, Hamilton, and Heathers. I went on to win a Tony for Best Featured Actress in Musical for my performance in Wicked, and during my speech, I thanked everybody who gave me support, including my high school theater teacher. Now, after a long and successful career on Broadway and in film, I retired in Upper New York with other people who were just like me, successful enough to live comfortably for the rest of my life.